Welcome to Toast. Quick roll call off the top. Terry Siakis. Tomorrow, 28-year-old Christy Hines will marry 64-year-old billionaire Jim Clark. What would you give them as a wedding present?
I would give them boxes and boxes of nappies, both for their future kids and also for the not-too-distant future Jim.
Oh, that is hot.
Charlie Pickering, what would you give them as a wedding present?
I've already got it together. I'm actually sending this to them. I'm giving them a pick, a shovel, a pan, and a canary because they are in for some pretty serious gold digging in the next couple of years. Justin Hamilton, what would you give young Christy and old Jim for their wedding?
I'd give him mechanical Gabrielle Chilme. Because she'll just keep performing even when they've run down.
Coming up on Toast this morning, what are the rules of wedding speeches? Justin Hamilton is fresh from a nuptial faux pas that you will have to hear to believe. Yeah. Plus, the votes are in, the ballots are being counted. One question remains. Is a Triple M announcer the new Premier of Queensland? We'll be checking in with Brisbane's Greg Marto Martin with all the results of the Queensland election. All that, plus dictators, pizza, prostates, and prosthetics here and impediments here on Toast with Terry, Charlie and Justin on Triple M. Terry Siakis, what's fresh off the news this morning?
Well, look, if your weekend plans include losing a limb and replacing it with a prosthetic...
Oh, that's me.
Yeah, busy you. Have I got some inspiration for you? Because in news from Finland, a computer programmer who lost a finger in a motorbike accident has had it replaced with a prosthetic finger. That's fine. Prosthetic finger contains a USB stick. Now, these are the little memory sticks that you plug into your computer to save your data on, right?
Oh, yeah.
And when this guy had his prosthetic finger done, he had a 2 gig USB stick inserted just under the nail. So you sort of peel back the top of his finger, his prosthetic finger. There's the USB stick. He plugs it into the computer drive, and then he picks it up again when he's finished. And I don't think he's really thought this through.
No.
I really don't think he has, because what do you always do with your USB sticks? You always leave them behind in the computer.
Oh, dear.
So this guy is not just going to be replacing his USB stick. He's going to be paying for prosthetic upon prosthetic upon prosthetic.
And if I know anything about computers and fingers, you have to be very careful about viruses. I know that much. You really have to be cautious.
But I think this is ridiculous. I would not want computer equipment at the end of my fingers. How the hell am I going to pick my nose? How am I going? I'm going to be worried about. What's this going to do to them?
You don't pick your nose. It's a Gooby download.
Okay.
Just download your Goobies.
What do you reckon, Juzzy? Are you up for this? Would you have computer equipment attached to the ends of your limbs?
I think he's the most rubbish Wolverine I've ever heard about. Like, like a USB stick, Like you scratch as you said, you'll scratch your nose, you'll tap into the World Wide Net. There's so many other things that you can put there.
Yeah.
I'd put a helium air pump. That'd be good because, you know what, I just love balloon animals. And it'd just be great to be at a party, having dinner with everyone, and everyone says, how's the night going? I said, check this out. It's a squirrel. Everyone goes, I love bringing Jay to a party. He makes balloon animals.
Do you know what I'd put on there? I'd put on there something that you never take the time to have one of these things. Like, something that whenever you need it, you think, well, of course I don't have that with me.
Yeah.
One of those little screwdrivers for tightening your sunnies.
Oh.
You know, like little hinge on your sunnies, because that drives me mad when it gets all loose and it's falling off, and you go, I don't own one of them. I can never fix. I might as well just give up on the sunnies now.
Yeah.
Tiny little screwdriver. Either that or just a bigger finger. Am I right, ladies?
Yeah.
One giant finger.
Hello,
Charlie.
Charlie.
This guy's a computer programmer, right? If there's anything he needs, it's not a prosthetic USB stick. Surely he just needs a prosthetic girlfriend.
On the end of his finger.
This is Toast on Triple M.
Charlie Pickering, there was a news story during the week that you were quite taken with.
I was. This personal highlight of the week when I read this story. North Korea, we're familiar with. It's quite an odd nation state, referred to by George W. Bush as part of the Axis of Evil, which I think is a cartoon organisation trying to take over the world.
Yeah. They're on Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, that's right.
They would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for you kids.
And so anyway, the leader of North Korea is Kim Jong-il. He's known as a bit of a mental guy, possibly dead. Some say that he died recently. But for a dead guy, he's been pretty active lately because it turns out Kim Jong-il loves pizza. I don't know where he got it, and I don't mean the TV show, by the way. He thinks it's a bit crass.
No, nobody loves that pizza.
He thinks it's a bit lowest common denominator, to be honest.
Come on,
Yeah.
he's got some funny jokes.
Derivative.
Just too many boobs for him. That's all he said. But he just, I don't know where it came from, but he just loves pizza, right? He got so obsessed with pizza.
Yep.
He started off he found the 5 best pizza chefs in the world, and like all Italian pizza chefs, flew them out to North Korea and got them to teach his military chefs how to make pizza.
Are you serious?
Yeah, absolutely serious. Stuck them on a boat, right? They didn't have them on the mainland, but they were in a kitchen on a boat offshore, and apparently Kim Jong-il rocked up to see how it was going.
Yeah.
And they, like, quite freaked out about the whole thing. They just thought, hey, you know, Papa Giuseppe making some pizzas, right? And then, you know, the leader of the Axis of Evil comes in. They thought they didn't know we were making evil pizzas. But then he's gone one step further. He's actually commissioned, built, and opened North Korea's first ever pizza restaurant.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
This sounds ridiculous.
He's basically, and it's not for the people. He doesn't really care much about his people.
Yeah.
It's entirely so he's got a pizza joint that he can ring up and go, yeah, can I have a, a large Hawaiian, please?
Well, this sounds too ridiculous to be true. Let's get it straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak. We've got him on the line now. We're very lucky. President Kim Jong-il, thanks for joining us.
Oh, please, call me Kim.
Okay, Kim.
No, I change my mind. Call me Supreme Leader.
Okay, Supreme Leader, what do you say to critics who believe it's the height of cruelty to open a pizza restaurant when most of your population are below the poverty line and starving to death?
Well, I say, obviously, they never had one of our delicious pizzas from Supreme Leader Kim's Pizza House. It's the best pizza press. And if you don't agree, I'll kill you. I came up with slogan myself.
And what makes Supreme Leader Kim's Pizza House the best pizza place in the world?
Well, for starters, there's my on-time delivery guarantee.
And how does that work?
Well, basically, when I order a pizza from my own pizza press, if it's not there in 20 minutes, I kill you dead.
You kill the delivery boy?
Yeah, I kill him dead. Bang! In the face or something. Bang! Hey, is he alive? No, he's dead! Tell his mama not to expect him home tonight.
Isn't that a bit excessive?
Well, he should have thought of that before he brings some cold pizza. Stupid dead idiot. Gotta teach him lesson.
Wait, you said they. How many delivery boys have you killed?
Well, let's see. I've ordered pizza 27 times, and I've killed 27 delivery boys.
You've killed all the delivery boys.
Yes. You see, I live in a heavily guarded fortress on a tall mountain. It's not such an easy climb. But let me tell you, when the delivery boy do make it up in 20 minutes, he in for a big tip.
Mr. Ill, what gives you the right to kill any delivery boy that rocks up late?
I'm a Supreme Leader. You want to think it come with some perks? I'm God on earth for crying out loud. You want to believe I get more than a T-shirt?
Mr. Kim, thanks for your time.
Call me Supreme Leader.
Toast with Terry, Charlie and Justin.
More fun than knocking on someone's door and running away. Well, almost. Triple M.
What?
Justin, you know what it means when the red light comes on, don't you?
Nah, I'm new here. I've never been to Triple M before.
We have a very special announcement from Toast Industries.
In this week's Toast magazine, we bring you all the colour of Victoria's second earthquake in 2 weeks. Who's to blame? And is it true that this is what happens when too many people start thinking about Pauline Hanson in the nude? There's a rare interview with the American computer programmer who replaced his missing fingertip with a computer memory stick. Whatever gave him that idea? And is it true he's now using the pickup line, "Hey baby, how about you come back to my place for a digital upload?" Terry Siakis takes us inside her colon and explains how she's helping lots of small brown people avoid the traffic to and from work. Charlie Pickering lifts the lid on his underground bunker. Why is it soundproofed? And how is a bunker any different from a dungeon? And Justin Hamilton declares that while he may have shot the sheriff, he did not shoot the deputy. There's a 7-page cooking lift-out packed with great ideas for cooking with baby harp seals. And our bumper Make It Yourself Craft Special, where we show you how to sew your own family quilt using only a needle, some thread and your family. That's all in this week's Toast magazine. Now, Charlie, you were telling us you had a doctor's appointment during the week that you were not really looking forward to.
No.
Did it go all right? Are you okay?
Well, it was a journey. It was
Yeah.
a process. And I'm as responsible for anyone, as anyone for what happened in there. I had to get a general physical
Okay.
for insurance purposes.
Right.
And you just have to get a clean bill of health signed off on by a doctor. And
Yeah.
I thought, oh, this is quite good. I actually haven't been to a doctor about 3.5 years. I've been too sick. But and it's weird because I've moved a couple of times,
Yeah.
lived overseas in that time, and I don't have a regular GP. I don't have a doctor. I haven't
Okay.
really had a regular doctor since high school. I've
Yeah.
been, a vagrant, basically.
So you had to source someone new.
I had to find a new doctor, and it was good, though, because I've just moved into a new house, so I thought I'll pick a local doctor, someone in the area, help
Yep.
the local community.
Yep.
Guy or girl?
Well, I wasn't picky. They just had to have an appointment free at 3 o'clock on Friday when I needed one.
You
And
tart.
and so I rang up the local sort of doctor's
clinic.
surgery, and got an appointment straight away. And I was
Yep.
going, this is great, this is very exciting. And then I remembered a friend of mine had been in for one of these physicals about 6 months ago. He said it was fine until the doctor said, right, there's just one more thing on the checklist. I'm going to have to check your prostate. Now, let's be mature about this. We all
Right.
know how they check a prostate. We're all across that. Let's just say there's a reason they leave it to the end of the physical,
Yes.
because otherwise it'd be a little bit awkward at the start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
you don't want to peak.
No. And so I'm there sort of for the hour leading up to the appointment. I'm just going, all right, that's fine. I'm a grown up.
Yeah.
If that's what has to happen, that's
Yeah.
absolutely fine. At the same time, I've never met this person before.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Awkward.
Absolutely. So I go in
probably
and
better that
I
way.
say I'm here for the
I
3
agree with
o'clock
Terry.
appointment, and they said, Dr. Diana will be with you in a minute. I'm going. Is it better or worse that it's a woman? I don't know.
Ah.
See,
better.
what do you think it's? Justin thinks it's better.
I don't even wait for the thinking music. It's better.
It's better. Why?
Yeah. Because I trust chicks more than men, because I know what men are like, because I'm a man and I don't trust me, but I trust chicks.
That is sterling logic.
That is
brilliant.
Everyone should
remarkable
stick
stuff.
with me.
So anyway, I'm sitting there in the waiting room,
Yeah.
going, okay, so what? Okay, it's a woman. It's fine. Look, it's not.
She's a professional.
That's
This is
exactly
a doctor.
right. That's exactly
She does
right.
this every day.
And I'm going to be a
Yeah.
grown up. The last thing I want to do is go in there and be all tense for a
Yeah.
start, but be all uptight. And I don't want to make it weird. The last thing
Yeah.
I want to do is make this weird for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I go in, I do my
Yeah.
physical, everything's going fine. Apparently,
Yeah.
I'm quite healthy against
good.
all odds.
That's
That's
good.
very good news.
Yep.
And so we're going along the whole time thinking, all right, look, it's coming up. The prostate check's coming up. All
Yeah.
right, just steel yourself. Just don't do anything weird. Don't do anything weird.
Yeah.
Think about cricket.
Yep. Think. Anyway, gets to the end of the.
That'll make you clench.
gets
That'll be
the-
worse.
Gets to the end of the physical, and she just goes, anyway, that's fine. I'll just sign this now, and you're all done.
All over.
And I said, without thinking, don't you want to check my prostate?
Yeah.
And the look that she gave
Yeah.
me was
Yeah,
both
but-
memorable and justified.
But check this out. Didn't need to happen. You're too young to have your prostate checked out. I've been begging doctors for about 5 years. They reckon until this is true. I've been begging for about 5 years. They reckon until you get to about 40, 45. I don't have any history of prostate problems. They won't check it out. I keep saying just give it a go, but they won't do it. And like you're much younger than me. You're about like 22. Like you should be fine.
Maybe this prostate check thing, maybe it'll become like, you know how if you doctor shop and you go from one doctor to another to get prescriptions for various drugs, maybe this will be the new thing. They have to check that you're not doctor shopping for prostate checks, that you're not booking in an appointment one a day, Monday to Friday, to get someone to give you a bit of and, you know, not take advantage of the situation.
Because my dad was a chemist, right?
Yeah.
And people would often be going to buy drugs that they just
Yeah,
weren't entitled to.
that's
But they'd
right.
always have really bad excuses, just going, yeah, I've got a really bad headache. I'm going to need some heroin. Right.
giveaway.
So that's me going in. I've got a bit of a cough. You really want to get up there and have a look around. This is Toast on Triple M. If you want to know what's going on, I'll meet you down by the water cooler, baby. I want the cooler, baby. I want the cooler, baby. Issues of ethics and etiquette here in the Weekend Water Cooler. And we want you to call us and let us know what are the rules of wedding speeches. Justin Hamilton, why are we talking about this?
I went to a really good mate's wedding, and he was one of those guys that had a couple of best men. He couldn't choose between 3 people, so he had a couple, right? So therefore, we had 3 speeches. First speech, fine. Second speech was just right, a little bit like Goldilocks. Third speech, guy gets up, and I reckon he dropped the F-bomb maybe 4 or 5 times.
How long was the speech?
The speech probably went 7 to 8 minutes, which in wedding speeches is the equivalent of about 3 to 4 years.
Yes, it really is. Well, that's quite a high dropping the F-bomb rate.
Yeah, and it was one of those things like the first one dropped and you went, oh, he's a little bit nervous, that'll be fine. And then the second one dropped and you went, oh, he's still nervous. And the third one, you just went, well, settle down, Andrew Dice Clay. Like, where are you going with this?
That's
But
like,
I
yeah.
act-
Big thanks to F and Nan for making it out tonight.
Yeah,
Effing good one, the old bird. Hey?
Oh, it was so bizarre. Like, I really like swearing. I think it's really clever and smart. But the thing is, in a wedding speech,
Yes.
I have to admit, I was a little bit conservative about it. I just went, dude, like
Yep.
one or two, maybe tops, but I don't know. I think he should have held back.
It depends on the context, I reckon. Even one or two at certain weddings. Like if it's, every wedding's different, I guess, but at a formal wedding where there's, full complement of grandparents and older relatives present, a videographer capturing the whole thing for posterity, I would argue that at certain weddings, even one or two, possibly pushing it.
I think maybe it's okay if there's a context for it in that you're quoting something that someone said,
Sure.
and it's like the crescendo of a story.
Yeah.
So he fell off the boat, and as we're pulling them in, he said, "That's the biggest effing marlin I've ever seen." Something like that.
Yeah.
In
Then
that
you
voice.
go, "Oh, yeah, that's
that
that's,
voice.
that's how I imagine most speeches delivered in barns." But I think if there's some context, maybe one F-bomb is okay.
Yeah, this stuff was used more like a joining word. Do you know what I mean? It was,
no.
it was like an adjective. It was like adjective central. And it genuinely made me feel a little bit bizarre.
Yeah, I reckon as a general rule for wedding speeches, swearing may be out. It's not a good thing. Also out, I reckon, are those really, really naff, take 1 cup of love and add a sprinkle of tenderness. and-
Recipe for a
yeah,
bride.
mix with affection, and you know what that recipe creates? Spew cake. If that is your wedding speech, that is just going to cause
Yeah.
huge amounts of vomit from
Yeah.
the
I've
audience.
never-
Don't do that in a wedding speech.
I've never come across that one before.
Oh, it's a shocker. And it's always the fallback. It's when you can't think of anything else to say, I'll do a recipe for love. They'll love that. No, they won't. They'll
They
hate
may
it.
as well give a speech called "We don't really know these
Yeah,
people well enough."
exactly.
What are the rules of wedding speeches? What's on the list? What's off the list?
Yep, what are the do's and don'ts?
Give us a call. Let us know, because this is important stuff. You don't want to ruin someone's special day, or maybe you do, and we'll tell you how. This is Toast on Triple M. What are the do's and don'ts of wedding speeches? Because they can make or break the day.
Yes,
They
can.
really can. They can top it off and leave everyone with that warm feeling,
Yep.
or they can just leave everyone just walking away going, I'm not sure what happened here.
Yep, they can offend people massively
They really
and ensure
can.
that your friends never speak to you ever again. Kelly, what are the do's and don'ts for wedding speeches as far as you're concerned?
It would have to be absolutely cannot talk about past partners.
So when you're making a speech about the bride or the groom, you can't bring up past loves? Is that the
No
angle?
way, yeah. I've seen a few where they've sort of extolled all of the past partners. It's just so wrong and awkward at a wedding.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter how positive you are in doing that. Like, you can be there going, this girl is beautiful,
Yeah.
and she is wonderful, and I've got to tell you, she is a lot better than all of the other bloody sluts he went through to get to her. She's an LBW, little bloody wonder, this one, I tell you. That's how I think all wedding speeches are done in that voice.
Did you? Was there a particular wedding where you saw this happen, Kelly? What was the reaction
yeah,
from
it was
the couple?
horrible. Because even if it is a funny story, it's just so inappropriate to bring it up at that time.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you.
Oh, man, that actually makes me feel really bad, because I remember at Charlie's wedding, I was just bringing up people left, right and centre, and I wasn't even doing speeches. I was just up the back yelling out, "What about Sally? You remember her, Charlie? She was great!"
I think what made that most awkward was that you'd brought your own megaphone, Justin, and ensured that everybody heard.
It cost a lot of money.
You've gone to a few weddings, Charlie. Have you seen some absolute clangers during wedding speeches?
Yeah, I've got. There are two rules, and one sort of follows on from that. One
Yeah.
is it's a wedding speech, not a 21st speech. Simple as that.
Yeah, it's not a roast.
Exactly.
You're not there to
Yeah.
bag people.
Sincerity will win the day.
Yeah.
On that topic, though, a lot of people, when they try to be sincere and genuine, they will often go, I'm going to use a theatrical device, like a metaphor, to
Okay.
explain what I'm thinking. That's a great idea. It can really help.
Yeah.
Can I just say, don't under or overuse the metaphor.
How do you mean?
Underuse the metaphor. I was at one wedding where the dad got up and he had a football trophy in his hand,
Right.
And he goes, my daughter Karen is a champion. She is Wayne Carey. Anyway, cheers. Thanks very much. Have a good night. And that was it.
no.
That was all. That was all the speech was.
Yeah.
Right. Didn't quite go far enough to
No.
explain it. My dad overuses metaphors quite well. My sister's wedding, he got up and said, a marriage is like a roller coaster.
Right.
There's ups and downs and twists and turns. Some
Fair
people
enough.
are excited. Some people are scared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people are feeling sick. When everyone started to go, I think you're crossing a line now, right? And then he turns to my new brother-in-law and goes, to my new son-in-law, you and I say that marriage is like a roller coaster. And in my daughter, Susie, you've chosen an excellent ride.
Oh, dear.
Awkward.
Yes, yeah. Paging Dr. Fritzl.
Oh, God, this is Toast on Triple M.
Fritzl?
Pub professor, tell us something we don't know.
Did you know that about 75% of all the drivers on Earth drive on the right-hand side of the road?
Then there's the 20% who drive on the left-hand side. The remaining 5% are so stoned they don't even know they're driving. They think they're flying on the back of Falcor the Luck Dragon from the Never-Ending Story.
It's important to indicate when you're doing that.
Yeah.
You're on Triple M?
Ah, Charlie!
Time for Toast Comedia Watch. Comedia Watch.
Vicar. Wrapping up the all the news,
It is Sunday.
all the news from the little papers that could. The none of your broadsheet nonsense. We're
No.
talking tabloids all around the country.
Yeah.
Bringing you the people's news
Yep.
is what it is. Accessible,
Yeah.
easy news. Justin Hamilton, what have you picked out of the papers this week?
Oh, no, I've got a stitch after that intro. I've been looking. This was from The Age from Melbourne. And
Oh,
this
so-
is one of... Sorry?
It is the big paper.
A bit
It
of
is a
hoi
big
polloi
paper.
Bit of big.
I've gone big, and then I'm going to go small,
Okay.
just to fit everyone in. Filthy. Now, this is one of those great titles where someone has quite clearly gone, here's a story, I'm going to jam this in to make it a wordplay, and left out the wordplay. But here it comes, right? This is about Bob Dylan, and it's saying that some of his neighbours are claiming there's an increasingly onerous dispute over a portable toilet at his Ocean View estate. Great story, right? And the headline is, Dylan's toilet troubles blowing in wind.
Oh no!
Like,
They
but you know what?
dropped the.
They dropped the the. That's the bit that kills me. Like, you've gone to that much trouble to jam one of his titles into something that doesn't quite fit, and you leave out the the. I was
Yep.
furious. I've broken up with The Age.
So
But here's
that's
another one.
So that's the big paper getting it wrong. Has the little paper gotten it right, Justin?
This is a little paper. Check this out, right? This is a story about people in Cambodia where you can buy 10 tarantulas that have been cooked and seasoned with garlic. Right?
Excellent.
It's only $2.
Good morning to anyone. Good morning to anyone eating their breakfast, by the way.
Yeah, like if you want to get this, Cambodia, check this out, right? And then they've put a very funny title called "People Put the Bite on Spiders." How funny is that?
So that's good.
Because spiders normally bite you, but now you can bite into them and lose your mind. So that's awesome.
Flip the script. Thanks, little paper. You did us proud. You showed us. Tell you what, The Age can take a good hard look at the little papers and learn a
Exactly.
thing or two, can't they?
I
Terry
like that. I
Siakis?
think that's the first mention for the age in this
Yeah.
this segment.
Never leave out the.
Terry Siakis, what have you picked from the papers?
Look, this week I'm giving the award for Best Smartass in the Letters page to the Herald Sun, the Melbourne Herald Sun, for printing a letter in response to... there's been a few articles about... There's this personal trainer in Melbourne who's been getting a fair bit of publicity for the fact that he's deliberately porking up and putting on weight to try and better understand his overweight clients, right? And he's been shopping this story around for a while, getting a lot of publicity. Great letter to the editor. I can't work out why a personal trainer has to turn into a fat man to better understand his clients. Bart Cummings has trained 12 Melbourne Cup winners without turning into a horse. Good point. I, Mitchell of Glenroy. Good, smart-ass point.
Sorry, who was that? What was
That
name?
is I, Mitchell from Glenroy.
We need to track down I. Mitchell
like
and get a
I.
bit more
Mitchell.
of that horse-related wisdom.
Yep, I
was
like the
great.
cut of his jib. Charlie Pickering, what have you found from the papers this week?
I have an award for the most environmentally friendly, multi-purposed, able to be reused headline from the newspaper.
Well, I like
Alright?
this.
This will single-handedly probably save the world. This is the headline from the Daily Telegraph in Sydney. NRL star admits, I need help for my drinking problem. A, that could be anyone. B, we will be seeing that many a time to come this season, I'd say.
Yeah, it's part of the contract.
This is Toast on Triple M. Terry Siakis, what's on your mind?
Look, yesterday on the show we talked about a news story involving a high school principal whose method of disciplining students involved putting them in a metal cage and encouraging them to engage in some bare-knuckle fisticuffs, Fight Club style. Now, this kind of got me thinking in between yesterday and today about some of the teachers that I had when I was at school who were, shall we say, a little bit unusual, a little bit different, a little bit eccentric.
Now, Terry, is this just, you were young and all grown-ups are a little bit weird when you're a teenager?
No, this is properly different. This is even as a child going, that's not entirely normal, and praising an adult that way. That's when you're doing that as a kid, you know that this is probably not quite right. There was a teacher at my primary school who had a very different way of dealing with kids who weren't getting along with other kids. Rather than give them detention or give them a good talking to or anything like that, what he would do, say it was two kids who weren't getting along with each other, he would sit them down in a corner away from everybody else. He would sit them opposite each other and just make them look into each other's eyes without speaking or touching each other for a full 10 minutes.
Awesome.
So he'd sit them down cross-legged and they'd just have to literally just look into each other's eyes. 10 minutes. No
10
touching,
minutes?
no speaking. Full 10 minutes, which is actually quite a long time to do that.
I mean, I'd suggest we do it now, but that's some boring radio.
It really is. And one of two things would happen. This was brilliant by default. Either they would collapse into a fit of giggles and just be mates again by the time the 10 minutes was up, or the 10 minutes of looking into each other's eyes without speaking or touching would just calm them down enough to leave each other alone. So I always kind of thought this teacher's a little bit unusual, but quite brilliant. Mind you, he was also the same teacher who would occasionally, for no apparent reason, put the classroom globe of the world on the ground, rest one of his feet up on it and start singing, "I'm on the top of the world looking down." Then he'd stand in the doorway of our portable and have a smoke while we did maths. So
Old school.
quite unusual, quite different.
This is your Dead Poets Society.
This is kind of...
Oh, Captain,
He
my
was
Captain.
a little bit nuts, but a little bit cool at the same time. Eccentric, like good different.
Did you ever have an eccentric school teacher? Bit of a weirdo, guy playing by his own set of rules, not like all the others, because they make school the best years of your life.
They do. School and also uni. I had a lecturer for first year philosophy who used a laser pointer named Roger. And he referred to him as Roger. Well, if we consult the screen, Roger will point out the main premise of the theory of Descartes. What say you, Roger? Then he'd fire up the laser pointer.
Oh, my God.
Nuts, but good nuts. That's what we want.
Did you ever have an eccentric teacher? This is Toast on Triple M.
We're asking you if you ever had an eccentric or slightly odd or unusual teacher at school or at uni. This is off the back of the high school principal who encouraged his students to settle disputes by bare-knuckle fighting in a metal cage in the States.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. I had a university lecturer who used a laser pointer named Roger, who he referred to as Roger, as if the laser pointer was a person. He was a highly entertaining but a little bit sad man.
I just couldn't do this without you, Roger. Thank you so much for your
I know.
support, Roger.
Now, to indicate this next point, I'm going to have to call upon Roger. Now, Roger, what say you? And he was a nut. Charlie, did you have a slightly odd teacher?
We had a great guy who ran our school camp, which was up in the hills in a place called La Batouche, and his name was
Private school.
Yeah.
Can't relate.
If you've ever been to La Batouche, you know it's not fancy.
Yeah.
Like it's proper farming and
Okay.
stuff.
Yeah.
But
Whatever.
yeah, whatever. I'm keeping it real from the ghetto. Anyway, Bob Barrow, he lived up there in the woods.
Right.
His wife had died many years before, and he slowly just went mental in the wilderness, right?
Right.
And so it got to the point that he had this one thing he'd do, like when he was doing a bush safety class, sort of in the classroom at the camp, and if people were misbehaving, he would take a sticky tape dispenser,
Right.
and with some purpose, he would point it at the student being naughty, and he'd put it on his desk, point it at them, going, "I'm putting the snail on you," right? and that meant that you were skating on thin ice, right? And it was you knew you were in trouble. That's the bloody snail on you. and then if you ever acted up, he goes, "The snail is on you, Charlie. What are you doing? The bloody snail's on you." And yeah, we all lived in fear of old Bob Barrow.
Nurse. Narelle, did you have a teacher that was a little bit eccentric?
Yes, my art teacher, when she was on playground duty, she used to get us to collect Sunny Boy and Raz and Glug wrappers, and then she'd sit in the playground and sew them all together into a quilt.
What? Oh, that's the thinnest quilt in the world.
Yes. Well, she was really way out there, so, she'd sew them together every time. She'd bring it in, sew more together.
And did it get to the point where this was something that she did over the course of a year and then she presented the quilt to someone, or was it just...
No, she just, we'd say, "What are you doing?" She goes, "I'm making a quilt," and off she'd go. And it actually got quite big. And like you'd see it grow and grow each time. So it was like a fascinating thing to all of us kids. Like this teacher's loopy. She's making this quilt out of paper.
How freaked out would you be if you got invited, you stayed at her place for the weekend and you go on the spare bed and there's the Sunny Boy quilt over it, sort of crunching and rustling whenever you roll in your sleep?
That is odd. I like it. Rachel, did you have an eccentric teacher at school?
I certainly did. I actually had my Year 11 coordinator, who was Mr. Williams, and then we all came back to school the next year for good old Year 12, and he was now Mrs. Williams.
Bravo.
Wow.
Bravo.
In every sense of the word, or just clothing?
Boobies, every long hair, renamed to Sharon.
Really?
And they ended up having to take him out of the classroom because there were some quite rude students.
Well, I imagine that would be the first response of kids to kind of take the mickey rather than actually process what had happened.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've saw kids have a hard time. They were given a hard time when they went through puberty at school. This is a much bigger change than that.
Absolutely.
This is massive puberty.
That takes the cake. I like that.
Thank you very much for the call, Rachel. I do appreciate it.
This is Toast and Triple M.
And someone who we hope is having a great morning is our friend from the Brisbane Cage, Greg Marto Martin, who not only is one of the country's great broadcasters, but was running against Anna Bligh in the seat of South Brisbane in the Queensland election held yesterday. Marto, can you break the news? How did you go?
I don't rule the roost, unfortunately. It was one of the great turn-ups of all time in politics, and I've been beaten by Anna Bligh. In the end, it was quite resoundingly. It was a surprise. She got something like 20,000 votes. I polled 225. It was a turn-up. I came equal sixth. I think the Greens beat me. A lot of people beat me, but I did manage to beat two candidates home. And I've sacked my whole campaign staff because I was led to believe I'd poll a lot better, and so I think I was really let down by a number of people. I've lost faith in the whole democratic process over this, so I can see how Robert Mugabe still hangs on to power in Zimbabwe.
Now, makes so much sense.
Now, Marto, we actually have a small clip of Anna Bligh's acceptance speech. I'd like to get your response to this. This is Anna Bligh after winning the election.
Queenslanders, I have spent the last 4 weeks listening to you, hearing what you want from my government. I have promised to spend every waking moment protecting your job and creating new jobs. And for me, that job starts right now.
It's all about her, isn't it?
It was all about jobs. I didn't realise that. I thought it was all about getting rid of small dogs, and I underestimated the number of householders who own small dogs.
I particularly like that policy of yours, Marto. Is that something that even though you have not been victorious in this election, is that something that you are just going to personally persevere with? Every time you see a small dog, just pick it up, relocate it, and take it somewhere else?
I'd love to think so. My concern is when I pore over the numbers this morning is that perhaps Queensland's not big enough for me. I think I've got to keep on going. I think I've got the strategy right. Maybe just tweak a few things and have a crack at Kevin Rudd next time.
Take on the big guns.
So Kevin Rudd, unless I'm mistaken, is it the federal seat of Brisbane that Kevin Rudd is in?
No, I don't know. He's another one over somewhere.
But he's a Queenslander. You could probably nominate in the same seat.
I could definitely have a crack at him. And the things that I've learned in this campaign, I was undermined slightly by my breakfast show cohorts on the Cage up here in Brisbane. They were very negative with some of their comments, and I think that didn't help me either.
Yeah, maybe you should sack them as well, Marto.
I'd like to get my name on the show, Bugger the Cage.
Well, Marto, congratulations on a great run anyway. 225 votes. All right, that's like 225 more than most people have ever got in a state election.
I know.
And I tell you
I
what,
only knew 4 people in the electorate, so there's 221 randoms. Took a punt on me.
And good luck at your tilt at Kevin Rudd in years to come. Thank you very much for joining us, Marto. Have a great weekend, mate.
Thanks for your support, Toast.
Cheers. This is Toast on Triple M. Thank God. Thank God for the internet. Thank God. Thank God for the internet.
Sampling the delights that YouTube has to offer. This week we're going to look at live TV accidents. Now, arguably the most exciting aspect of live television is the possibility that at any time something could go wrong. And what better time for something to go wrong than when you least expect it as a viewer and when the presenters least expect it as well. Now, first up, we've got a clip from a cable TV channel known as Tech TV. This is a channel devoted to news and programs about computers, various technologies, all that kind of stuff. The guy we're about to hear from is showing off a piece of sound equipment, and what you're about to hear is the reason why you should never, ever begin a sentence on live television with the words, "This is a one-of-a-kind piece."
So this is a one-of-a-kind piece. There's no other one like this particular one in the world. And you can see the tracks go this way. And it's really cool because it records much more accurately than... Oh, shit. Oh, my God.
Well, that does happen every once in a while. That can't be good. Now, are you done with that then?
Yeah, I'm done with that.
All right.
Yeah, he's totally done with that.
I love his self-correction. He went to swear and decided instead to swear.
Up next, a clip from the Shop at Home Network, which is a pretty self-explanatory cable channel. We're about to hear the host try and demonstrate the awesome power of a katana samurai sword by whacking the blade against a table without first checking how securely the blade is attached to the handle.
1816 is the item number on this one. And the nice thing about these practice katanas... Oh, that hurt. Oh, that hurt big time. A piece of that the tip just got me, Odell. Oh, that got me good.
You all right?
A piece of that tip just got me. Oh,
folks, right now, we may need emergency surgery in the studio.
How about a host who's not an idiot?
Yeah.
How about you may need that.
Although, at the same time, like, I see that and I think, that sword clearly works.
Makes you want to buy one.
How many easy installments is it?
The host lies bleeding on the ground. Finally, how much do we love it when things go wrong on the news? Here is a news reporter filing a live report following up on the cleanup of a major traffic accident that happened on the very street corner that he is standing on. And as far as what happens next goes, well, what are the odds?
Well, John, traffic has reopened here at 26th and Duncan. It was closed for about a couple of hours or so. Investigators cleared the scene just about 30 minutes ago. Metro Police will not speculate on the nature of the injuries right now, but we did talk to some witnesses who were here just seconds after they heard the impact. One person told us they believe someone was actually ejected from a Chevy Blazer and that person was barely moving. Oh, gosh, guys, so you can see this is the type of thing that people say happens at this intersection very, very frequently.
Wow, that is pretty frequent.
What do you mean?
Wow.
What do you mean? This is the kind of thing people say happens.
Yeah, quite clearly.
This is the thing that happens.
Yeah,
Happens.
on
Just
film.
happens.
I love it. If you have a clip that you would like to see us feature on Thank God for the Internet, or just a clip that you want us to put up on the Triple M website, their email address here at Toast is...
Toast at triplem.com.au.
And triplem.com.au also has a funny stuff section with all great clips from Thank God for Internet
Yes.
and other places. Go and check that out. This is Toast on Triple M. That's it for Toast for the weekend. We've got next weekend off.
Yes.
We're just chilling out. But we'll be back the Saturday after that, 7 a.m. We will catch you then. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you soon. Bye.